We are sitting in the room where the first government in the world gave women the right to vote. Nowhere else in the world. This is it. It's not only important to Wyoming and not only important to the country, this is important to the world. This very spot where we're sitting right now. And when I walked in and I saw the grandeur and how well it is done, it gives you goosebumps. I mean, this is a very, very historic place. And now when it is redone in this way, at this level, it's appropriate to show it off to the world.
My name is Tony Ross, and I am chairman of the Capitol Oversight Committee, which is in charge of the complete renovation of the Capitol complex, including, most importantly, the Capitol. It started a long time ago. Probably started saving for this in 2003, and then along the way we made some appropriations to it.
The first is just the nuts and bolts of why we needed to move forward on this. This building had been renovated, but not fully renovated. But there was things that were left undone that needed to be done immediately in my mind. You know, the fire suppression system there was non-existent. It was not ADA compliant. So I think those were two immediate needs, but of course it's much more than that. I mean, this is the most important building in my mind in Wyoming, and it represents not just government, but it represents what the state of Wyoming is all about, and it needed refreshed and it needed redone.
One of the great aspects that has really been emphasized by the group that has worked the Oversight Committee and others that have had a lot of care about this is the emphasis of the history and the continuity and the way to move forward.
Of the project, the Capitol is $116 million. There are so many other components to the project. You've got Hirschler at $57 million, and the CUP, the central utility plant, at $19 million, the connector at $19 million, and all of your exterior stuff at $8 million. Then you also got furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and you've got temporary leasing. That's all in the project. So when you really, if you boil it down, it's not $300 million just for this Capitol. It's for the whole Capitol complex and moving people around the city, finding places where we can house agencies while we're doing this. So that was a big deal. There was challenges along the way because you have to figure out where you're going to put everybody.
Government offices were housed all over Cheyenne, and there was a discontinuity over the last several years.
At times you're wondering, what's the solution? And we were very lucky that we were able to kind of fall into the Hirschler. Turned out to be rather miraculous what we've done. Central utility plant was out of date. The boilers were way over their extended life, and there was no efficiencies to them. It's now state-of-the-art, and it supplies cooling and heating for 5 different buildings. The Hirschler building and the connector, the Capitol, the Supreme Court, the Barrett building, and the Hathaway building are all tied in to this central utility plant.
I think the initial thought about revamping the Capitol came about at a time when the state was pretty flush. We had a lot of energy resources coming in, and luckily we had the fortitude to continue through and do the construction that was necessary to bring this building to fruition.
I was the primary sponsor of the legislation. It was Senate File 103. When we started the project, we had saved $100 million. We had the money to go forward, and then, of course, the economy takes it in the shorts.
Ultimately, I had to make my own decision whether this was something that needed to be done. The timing always is tough because we were coming off some good record revenues and we had money. But we also recognize being so mineral dependent that could fluctuate, and in fact it did fluctuate. So I had resolved in my mind that there was a definite need. I knew it was going to be tough. I didn't quite know how tough it was going to be, but I thought, if I have a chance to do this while I'm governor, It'll be something that when done I will be proud of, that I had a role in that made this building even more magnificent. You know, we had a lot of good people helping us, everybody professional and with the best of intentions, but it was such a massive project. And what we lacked was the great expertise of who has done this, who has managed a project of this magnitude, not just square footage, but an actual capital. And that was MoCA.
They changed the paradigm of the whole project because they had done other capitals. And so they represented us as just layman legislators and to make sure that we got this project done right.
They brought it all together, and they showed us where we had made mistakes. They showed us a direction forward, how to manage the budget, and so we wouldn't be here today without MoCA.
It's important that we retain the heritage and the significance of this building for our children and our grandchildren.
We recognize this is a chance to do this that won't come around perhaps for another 50 or 100 years.
We hired an artisan from New York, Evergreen, who's done historic renovations of capitals, and they were able to uncover the original colors and the ceilings and what they look like. Everything was down to detail. And now, it all seems to blend. The skylights make sense. The colors are so much more grand. The gold leaf that was covered up is back. And when we start hanging our art, it'll even be more beautiful.
Well, I think as we open this building, that's certainly a couple of us have felt strongly that the people of Wyoming need to understand what the investment truly was. You know, just as I said before we began this project, more than just the rocks and the paintings, this is about the people. This reconstruction is really now more than just the edifice. It's the superstructure that brings us to modern standards with internet and wireless connections, with better plumbing, with ADA accessible bathrooms and all of that.
When you look at the fundamentals, first just the life safety issues that needed to be rectified, but secondly was public access to their government. And literally, the public did not have meaningful access to committee rooms, to committee meetings.
And then I think the practical usage of this building is going to be greatly enhanced, because the best government is open to the people and allows for their full participation. And the way it was designed before this renovation, it didn't allow for that full participation because some of the meeting rooms were so small and people couldn't get in and ask the questions and hear the debate.
We've rethought government to make sure it's more accessible, it's more open, and more transparent. And this building really represents all of that. There is something magical about this building. When you come to work in this building, you have a depth of sort of the history and the expectations of the people of Wyoming, that Wyoming will move forward.
I hope they have a great sense of pride in their state house and their capital, and also a great appreciation for the utilization that allows for full participation by the citizens in their government.